Hello and welcome to the Cyber Distortion Podcast Season 4, Episode 2. Kevin and Jason are excited to be back for another awesome episode. Tonight, the guys talk with national security expert and US Army combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, Ricoh Danielson. This episode, appropriately entitled Staring Down the Barrel of a Loaded Gun, will be both enlightening and frightening at the same time. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Cyber Distortion Podcast. This is Season 4, Episode 2. Welcome back, everybody. And we'll call this our first kickoff episode with an actual guest this season, which is awesome because we got a really good guest. We're excited about our guest tonight. Jason and I were pumped from the minute we heard from your publicist, Ricoh, to join us for a conversation tonight. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. This is kind of a topic that we've kind of had on our wish list, our discussion wish list for a while.
Okay.
And we're finally getting around to it. So I think this is going to be cool. So tonight, who do we have? We have Mr. Ricoh Danielson. Now, Jason's going to read Ricoh's bio here in a second. But before he does, I just want to say thank you, Ricoh, for coming on. And of course, thank you for your service to our country, which is many years of service to our country. So we appreciate that. We've appropriately titled tonight's episode, Staring Down the Barrel of a Loaded Gun, because we do feel that our country is kind of staring down the barrel of a loaded gun when you think about cybersecurity and critical infrastructure and things like that. So quick overview. We're going to be talking about cyber threats on the infrastructure, and that could be anything from the power grid to the water and food supply, transportation, healthcare systems, fuel systems. We've all heard of breaches that shut down fuel systems and food systems and things like that to a small degree. But have you ever thought about how technology like AI or something that's on the horizon could possibly interfere and get involved in our weapons systems? Well, if you haven't, it's in the news. This is something that's really about to start happening. We need to be mindful of what's going on out there and just be aware because it's coming. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jason and let him read Ricoh's bio.
Oh, man.
Jason, you might want to unmute, sir.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I had to mute because I didn't want to overtalk Kevin because he was taking too long to get to the good stuff. So. But I am really excited, man, because this is a topic that Kevin and I are really passionate about. We did a report a couple of weeks ago in our live show with the CCN, and one of the top pieces in that was an alert that came out about Russia and a certain group within Russia being tasked specifically to set seeds in our critical infrastructure. Now, this isn't new, but the fact that alerts are being broadcast about this to bring our awareness to this is even more concerning, because it's just another way of saying, hey, yeah, this has been going on, but now you really need to be paying attention to it. And so I'm really, really excited about getting into this thing and talking about this and getting into the meats of it. But Ricoh, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for your service. And let's get into this. So look, guys, tonight we have Ricoh Danielson, and he is a national security expert and U.S. Army combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. As a digital forensics expert in cell phone forensics for high-profile criminal and civil cases, Ricoh has a strong passion for cybersecurity, digital forensics, and incident response that led him to start his firm, Fortitude Tech LLC, in the middle of still going to law school to become Phoenix's and nationwide a heavy hitter in digital forensics across the board. So Ricoh now owns First Responder, focusing on helping small and large businesses with incident response. He is also a graduate of Thomas Jefferson School of Law, Colorado Tech University, and UCLA Anderson School of Management. So with that, Ricoh, welcome to the show.
Hey, rock and roll. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate being here, and it's an honor being with such great guys and great audience. Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked a little bit before the show to kind of get to know you and your background a little bit, and you were sharing some really interesting stories. And as it pertains to, this topic tonight, I think Kevin said something interesting as we were talking about this around the dichotomy of perspectives, and the perspective of the actions that we within the U.S. are taking around cybersecurity to protect our critical infrastructure specifically, as well as the actions that we are not taking, and how there's an inverse effect of that, right? So there's things that we can do, and then things that we're just ignoring or may not really be giving it our full attention because we're focused on other things. So as we get into this tonight, I'm hoping we're going to uncover some of this and kind of, learn a little bit better around what we don't know, right? From an insider, what we don't know that maybe we really all need to be paying attention about. So, Kevin?
Well, I want to step back a minute to something that Ricoh was telling us off air that is definitely worth repeating. And just to give a background of some of the situations Ricoh has found himself in. Ricoh, talk just a bit about the 14-day lifespan you were telling Jason about on that mission you were on.
Well, it's a duty, it's a job, right? So part of my background is part of being a thing called OGA, other government agency, and basically foreign governments or even the U.S. governments will hire us as expats or operators, tier 1 operators, SF, SEALs, recon, raiders, and whatnot. And they're like, hey, go do our dirty work for us or do the things we are not allowed to do. So I'm like, I check, Roger. And one of them was this thing called the opium burning thing. And basically it's a 14-day life expectancy. That means that's 14 days you're expected to live during this. And you get a bunch of guys, you get a bunch of pin flares, and then you find the opium burning area within Afghanistan because it's an opium trade, and you go set fire to it. So that, long story short, it's like you get in a helicopter, a little Kiowa, little fast mover, and they take you and 4 to 6 guys, and you go on opposite sides of the thing, set fire, and then you get in a firefight. Unfortunately, there were some guys who died. This is just part of the way it goes. There's a rule of thumb. 14 days expectancy is there for a reason. But yeah, I did about 6 of those, and every one of them was to the manner. You set something on fire and you get in a firefight. It's just the way it is, and that separates the weak from the strong and the boys from the men real quick.
Yeah,
boy, there is no doubt about that. Geez, I would think with the various missions you go on, and have you ever been on one where they gave you a shorter time frame of life expectancy than that one? 14 days, a lot can go wrong in a short amount of time, but geez, that's almost like saying you're not coming back.
Yeah. Pretty much every day, you went on these operations and these details and whatnot. It was always something new. And And you knew for a fact, like the likelihood and the probability of me coming home in a body bag is pretty real, you know? There was one specifically that I remember we rolled out the gate in Afghanistan and we were protecting a very, very well-known person. And he was like, hey, hold back. And I was in the, they call it the VIP. And I was his body man. And I was like, all right, why are we holding back? And he had sent his wife and children ahead. And he was like, hold on. And then boom, the fucking car went up, blew up. And he's just like, okay, proceed. And that gave me a lot of perspective of life, like how the fragility of life, how the human capital of life is so quickly used, and how dirty Afghanistan was, and the games that they play with people's lives. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this no more. So it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of technology that goes into like, you have to have a con op, right? You have to have this thing that you do. You're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to get engaged. And you use various technologies like this thing called PGSS, Persistent Ground Surveillance System, or the WISP, or the Wiz, or something like that. And you have all these different technologies, like we call it the Wayback Time Machine, or the Look Back Machine. And you can record and see where the Taliban's going. You're like, okay, here's a point of egress. Here's the thresholds. Here's the choke points. When we roll out the gate, when we do our operation, we'll more likely have 2 casualties. Here's what we're looking for. So like, these are the things that you have to take in consideration, and it is what it is. And you don't know who the casualty is.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm.
Well, all right, let's try to shift into the topic for tonight, and talk a little bit about why this conversation really matters. I believe this is a problem we've all been aware of. You hear about it in the news. You occasionally hear of certain things. We all heard about the Colonial Pipeline a couple of years ago, where one malware breach caused a shortage of fuel delivery to the entire East Coast. That's a huge deal. But there have been others. And Jason and I, in one of I think it was our very first episode, Jason, we called it episode 0, but we were just basically digging into the news as finding topics to speak on related to cybersecurity. And one of the first things we saw was the event where the water plant, the water facility, had been not really necessarily breached, but overtaken because someone had left software on the machine, remote control assistance software on the machine, and it was open to the internet. So someone found this open door onto a system in this water facility. And, all it takes is one person with malicious means to get on there and find that. And this is what happened. This was actually the week before or right around the Super Bowl. So there were a ton of people in the air. This was a small town outside of Tampa. And their systems got taken over, and someone decided to up the amount of lye in the water to lethal levels. And I was reading up on it the other day to kind of refresh my memory on this. Normally, the amount of lye in the water is 100 parts per million. So to give you some perspective of what they did, they changed it to 11,000 parts per million. So from 100, which is normal, to 11,000, which is very lethal, and could basically take out many people in that town. And had they not determined what was going on, this could have been catastrophic, obviously. And what they did is they saw, one of the technicians in the plant saw the mouse on the screen moving. That's how they detected that something wasn't right. This machine, it's moving, and I'm seeing these numbers being typed in. I don't have control of the machine. What's going on? And then they realized that the remote control software had been taken over. And they determined, when they went in and did their research on this, their forensics, they determined that someone had indeed changed the amount of basically poison in the water. It's crazy to think that can happen in today's society or in the world today, but this is a real problem. So I wanted to ask your opinion, Ricoh, and I know you're basically a cybersecurity expert, but as well, you're a national security expert. So how big and how real is this issue for us as Americans, and how bad can that really get?
Yeah, I just got done with a compromise in Florida for a gas company with a similar trait. So it's happening current day to day. This is very real. A lot of people are not paying attention. And I really believe that the United States government has left the United States private sector out to dry. I love CISA, love the FBI, ATF, Secret Service, love them all. Great guys, former law enforcement as well, myself. But however, they're out cybered, they're outgunned, they up against an adversary that's way smarter than them. And they're doing the American people a disservice by presenting a false reality of like, hey, we're here. I met with CISA, right? And they said, hey, we have a purple team and an IR team. I said, great. How many phone calls are you getting? They're like 10,000 a week. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
What are you guys doing to facilitate? Like, we'll do the best we can. And I say, guys, you got here's my phone number. Just give them, here's the phone number. Here's a 1-800 number. Just let's do something. Let's help people out. And they said no. And so this kind of leads me to believe that the government does not know what they're doing. And I'm not trying to disparage the government. I love the United States government. I just don't think they're ready and they know how to do anything, let alone on the cyber side. So when it comes to our critical infrastructure, this is a very real threat. We've worked hundreds, if not thousands of cases for hospitals that got hit, like county hospitals, elementary schools, universities, water plants, gas pumps, like not gas station like Exxon, but like local gas regional pump facilitations. And the most recent one we just got an SOW for signed and executed within an hour was for electrical company here. And it's, the threat actors are here. They have no qualms of making themselves known anymore. Like, hey, we're with the Russian Strutsku or Bean Liam. They put their flag down, or the Muslim Brotherhood. They're like, we have no problem putting our name to it. And unfortunately, it's going to cause the U.S. people not only time, money, material, but also lives.
Yes.
So this is going on behind the scenes, and you said something important there about how they're basically out smarted, so to speak. The adversaries are smarter than the defense that we have up.
Yep.
If that's true, how can we turn that around? What can we do to flip the script on them? Or are we already doing the same thing in their infrastructure and it's really just a matter of mind games?
A little bit of both. So if we take a step back and actually look at the cartel, right? Cartel has a very big cyber presence and a cybersecurity presence. They actively try to recruit. What we're doing is actually infiltrating them and trying to get underneath their sheets and figure out what's going on with them. You're right. We need to have a more proactive approach in a reality situation. And I believe that needs to become more privatized. The local government doesn't have enough resources. Federal government doesn't have enough know how to do it. So what do is you just turn to privatization. However, now you become an oligopoly and a monopoly, right? You see some huge IR firms, I can name two of them right now, that have monopolized the market and now have teamed up with cyber insurances and have quadruplized the market, which is like, you can't go here if you can't go there. This is not covered here if you're not doing this. So I really believe that the market, the cybersecurity and incident response and forensics market is going to correct itself, and it's going to become even more exclusive and privatized.
Yeah. So here's a good point in that. Absolutely agree with you in the fact that you have these big players who are taking over and in some sense squelching the opportunity for us to really make a difference. Now, the second part of that is one of the reasons Kevin and I started this podcast was specifically to bring awareness, to educate people, to get people to understand that there is absolutely more that we could be doing. And there are professionals out there who can participate and can be involved in the protection and safety of our critical infrastructure and civilians in our country. That is true. But we have not been able to utilize those professionals in an effective way because of two reasons. And you stated them. One, everyone wants to make a buck. and nothing against making a buck. That needs to happen.
Yep.
But there needs to be more opportunities for people to not just make a buck, but to also be able to participate in contributing to that, filling that gap and that void. And so hopefully people will listen and see that there are other ways to solve this problem, and we have to start acting on it and doing something soon.
Yeah, I mean, you bring a very good point. So I'll give you a story. So a long, long time ago, I got my first air presence. I don't know if you're familiar with the person Kim Commando. She has a big channel. She has a huge News Nation and whatnot. And I was doing a cyber stalking case, and I did this for 2 years for free. Right. I found the cyber stalker. The person's in jail right now. It made one of my bigger notorieties of the media career, which I'm very happy for. But as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. My phone went through the roof when I was on Chris Cuomo show this year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I accidentally dropped my phone on national news. Big mistake.
Yeah.
But I realized, like, I got, what was it, like 13,000 phone calls in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
And it was all older people like, hey, is my social security out here? What do I do? And I'm like, I cannot in good heart charge somebody who's on a fixed income and help them. So I got this little cheat sheet. I'm like, here, do these things and you'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And we've done things like that on some of our episodes in the past, where we'll finish an episode or we'll have a conversation like this. And at the end of the episode, we'll give tips, right? And just to give information on how to, for the average person, just, be more aware.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, though, let's go on to another topic. And this one was one that was really interesting too. We're all intrigued by it, but Kevin coined this one, Ghost Riders in the Sky. And it is the mysterious little balloons that have been flying over our airspace that for either some reason we feel like we should just let them completely fly over our airspace and wait till they get to
Alaska
side.
to the East Coast. Without
just cover the whole country. I mean, whatever, or the second part to this, how much of this do we not know about that happens?
Right? There you go.
And that's, these are just a couple of instances where someone saw something and they started saying and made a big deal out of it. How much of this goes on that we don't even know about that happens on a regular basis? And that's what becomes concerning, at least for me, because there is so much information that can be collected by doing a flyover like that, especially from a foreign adversary. So, one, what would be the intent to allow it to happen, right? Why would we, in the case where we had the one Chinese balloon that went from the east to the west coast, what would be a reason why we would let that happen? And then two, what don't we know?
Sure. So look at the phases of war, right? The way you get into war and combat is one, reconnaissance, know your adversary, and then also know the terrain, right? So I believe that this was a recon mission. And if you look at the old German way, how the Germans did a really good reconnaissance, the United States allowed them to do the exact same thing across Europe so we can know the point of origin. And at that point, we just bombed the hell out of them, right? So it's the same aspect, same as that's what we coined the thing of blitzkrieg, right? It's the warfare tactic. Same thing applies here. However, we just wanted to figure out where that was coming from. Why would you allow it? That's a really good question. I think the government does definitely owe us an answer. I mean, we have the world's best fighter jets in the world and the best fighter pilots, but like, why wasn't it shot down? So I think it was a matter of trying to figure out, let it go and see if we can intercept the maybe telecommunications, the frequency where it's transmitting to, understanding the origin of it. But if you ask me, it should have been shot down a very long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, didn't that one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken or confusing it with a different balloon that we didn't shoot down, it flew right over some of our nuclear weapons facilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they let it go. I don't think it was for fear of, they said, yeah, well, if we shoot it down over a city, it could kill people or could injure people. But at some point, you've got to say, well, what is the risk worth the reward, right? You might, it's possible it could kill someone. But on the other side of the token, what are you giving up by not shooting it down? And we had that situation recently as well with these drones all over the East Coast. What the hell was that about? We went days, weeks without doing anything about it, or that we know of. Maybe they were our drones. I don't know.
So if you look at the span between Phoenix and New Mexico, right, Albuquerque and Phoenix, right, you could have shot it down at any given time because that's a huge spread. I mean, you could have done something really easy, very quick, no problem. When it comes to the things in drones in New Jersey and whatnot, so you have Virginia Norfolk, right, who is the home of the F-35, brand new warfighter. That thing can pick up different targets simultaneously and easily eliminate them. It was proven during the rocket attacks during Israel and Iran, right? Very easily it was mitigated. So why haven't this been kicked up? I honestly believe that I hate being this way, but like that administrator at that given time with that type of warfighter just did not want to invoke itself and show the power. And, now you have a different commander in chief. You have a different, you have Pete Hegseth in the way, like he's all about it. Like, hey, let's bring the bad boys out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, so the question for me around some of this was, there's some interesting aspects of this for me that does not make sense. And one of those is, there's reports that these drones people have seen these drones being launched from vessels in the water. Mm-hmm. But yet the ones that we have witnessed, the ones that the media has shown us, all show civilian signs with navigation lights running, right? And the altitude that they're flying at is within the proper airspace, not within too high or too low. Right. I think these all were right about the 400 feet or under 400 feet range. And so the question for me continues to be, were these nefarious objects, or was there something else going on? Or third to that, were bad actors using civilian drone tactics to do some things?
Yeah, there could possibly be a commingling, right? Threat actors more than likely had, zombie, some sort of attack, and you leverage them to kind of do some sort of disorientation attack or distraction attack to not be over here. I really believe that there is a higher power of technology that can submerge itself and be shot out from the ocean and kind of pivot unlike we've ever seen. Yeah. More than likely it belongs to our government or a foreign government, and we're playing catch up.
Yeah, that was the last story I heard too that I thought was astounding, and I tend to believe that as well. That there's unknowns around certain parts of technologies that have been formed by our government and other governments potentially, and part of that would be another reason why you wouldn't shoot it down, because you shoot down this technology, average Joe finds it, right? Because they're over civilian spaces. And then now you got to start telling people about it. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of pieces associated with it, but I did hear that and read that topic as well. And that was one I was gravitating to as a strong possibility as to what's going on.
Well, every time these things happen, you always get the conspiracy theories and, hey, it's a false flag, or, hey, it's, it's our own equipment and we don't want to shoot it down, and they know exactly what they're doing. And you never know what's real anymore. It's kind of like these deep fakes and AI. I don't even know what to trust that I see online anymore. I just assume it's false nowadays because it's all seems like bullshit. Yeah. So many things are so outlandish that you're like, well, there's no way that could have happened. Then you find out every now and then it's actually happening. That seems to be more rare than the extremely obviously must be a fake. And somebody's just messing around. But I don't know. With technology these days, it's really hard to tell the difference.
Yeah. Well, let's smell fishy. It probably is fishy.
Yeah. These days, I don't know. I mean, I used to think that, but now I don't know so much anymore. let's step back to another incident that happened a while back, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years. Yeah. WannaCry. You guys remember WannaCry. Most of us remember where we were because we're in IT and we're in some sort of support role with our companies. I remember exactly where I was when WannaCry hit, and it was back in May of 2017. I was on my way down to visit my daughter in South Texas on a road trip, and it was about a 5-hour road trip to get where we were going. And I remember seeing about 30 minutes into the trip, something was going on, and it was big, and it was possibly a global ransomware event, but nobody really knew anything. By the time I got to halfway to where we were going, it had already gone global. And by the time I got to where I was going, we were shutting systems down in my organization to protect them. And we remember this because of the impact it had. And I believe this still today is one of the biggest ransomware attacks on not just the U.S. infrastructure, but any infrastructure. And it actually started out in Russia. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's where the biggest impact still today, money-wise, was in Russia. But it took down 70,000 European healthcare systems. The National Healthcare Service got hit the hardest, and it was taking down computers, MRI scanners, blood work testers, blood analyzing equipment, I guess, and diagnostic equipment. This was just to that particular organization a 90 million euro hit to the healthcare industry. But globally, it got up to about $8 billion they project. 98% of the victims of this particular 0 day were unpatched versions of Windows 7. So this kind of goes back to the importance of keeping our systems up to date. But I'm curious, these kinds of things are happening, and we hear about them, and we know it's a nation state level attack. How vulnerable are we to a nation state level attack that is focused on just us? Or are these always going to cross borders and there's just collateral damage? Because the way these things are written are typically, if it's not on an industrial control system or something like that, they're designed to spread.
Yeah.
So how could you ever get ahead of that and stop that spread? And what's the real impact of these kind of things for us?
The real impact is going to be it's ongoing, and it will always forever be there. There will always be collateral damage. The likelihood and probability of us getting ahead of this is probably null, to be honest with you. We will know, I hate being the Mr. Doom here, but chances are you'll never get ahead of it because nobody in the world that I know of, and I've worked over 1,500 different ransomware cases, ever has it right when it comes to patch management.
Wait, did you just say 1,500?
Yeah, 1,500, man.
Wow.
Usually when I get on online dealing with threat actors, they're like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Damn it, man." They know me. So, but yeah, it's very it's pretty wild that what you talked about right there. WannaCry is it's Russian formed, so not a lot of people know that. It was executed in Russia on itself, for itself, by itself. There's still remnants of WannaCry still out there for sure. It's being morphatized, and this is when I went to Israel to go take a look at this, and at UTA 8200 was WannaCry was it, then Petra, then so on and so on. Then now we've arrived to artificial intelligence of metamorphic and polymorphic ransomware, and so like that's where we are now, and that's where it came from. I really believe if you fix ransomware, you just eliminated $1 billion industry. So you can't. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no one's going to let that happen.
They're going to keep writing it, or because there's no technology to stop it.
Oh, there's technology to stop it. Oh, absolutely there is. Just they're going to keep writing it. It's going to keep morphing itself. And I have a theory. I have a tin cap theory that I believe that this was created on purpose, and it was created within the United States.
WannaCry was, or
the overall ransom gang.
oh, I gotcha. Okay, okay, interesting.
Yep. But that's just my 2 cents. I put my tin cap away.
Yeah,
No,
that's
please
interesting.
don't. I actually I enjoy the conspiracy theory.
I do think, I mean, we know that there are organizations that that survive around cyber attacks occurring, and to the point where, I mean, it is a well-functioned organization. They're paying royalties out. They, it's syndicated. There's a lot of things that are going on that that dollars are moving through the hands of a lot of organized groups that you take one down, there's 50 more of them in that same operation that, independently, that are a part of, getting the impact of that reward. So it is going to be extremely difficult to shut all of that down, like shutting down the cartel, right? It's going to be extremely difficult to shut all of that down because there's so much money involved in it. And to your point, on both sides of the equation, there's so much money involved in it. So
tons of money. I think I was on a training expedition in Jalisco, Mexico, and we were training the special police, and they had revolvers, and the cartel showed up and like, these guys have 50 cals. You guys are outgunned. And it was very simple. They're just like, let us do our thing. Just stay out of the way. You'll get paid. We'll all get paid. And I was like, this is a lot bigger than I think it is, you know? And thankfully I exited that program. But same thing with the cartels and the cyber deals. Like they grease the palms of the governors, the local municipalities, the people. They give them jobs. Like this, if you take them down, if you take their operation down, you're gonna have an economic impact.
Yeah,
absolutely. For sure.
All right, well, guys, we covered quite a bit, and we're gonna jump and take our first break, and then come right back and dive into some more of this conversation.
Awesome.
Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Imagine taking a proactive, deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity, blocking every action, process, and user unless specifically authorized by your team. ThreatLocker helps you do this and provides a full audit of every action, allowed or blocked, for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based support team. Stop the exploitation of trusted applications within your organization to keep you running efficiently and secure, protected from ransomware. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. To learn more about how ThreatLocker can mitigate unknown threats and ensure compliance for your organization, visit threatlocker.com.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're in so interesting conversation, and I say that because we were just talking off camera about a few things that has just got my mind spinning. But I'm really enjoying this time with Ricoh, and we're gonna gradually step this conversation up a little bit on the threat scale, and now we're going to get into cyber warfare on industrial control systems and supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA systems. And so, when we look at that profile, the one thing that stands out the most is the Stuxnet.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, Kevin. That comes to mind first, right? Because that was so prominent in the world of cybersecurity. And when we look at this, right, this was a weapon, right, that was created. And the interesting part about that was how much was put behind this and how much impact this weapon had within the world of cybersecurity. I think we look at things like it was cited, as the first publicly known instance of malware engineered to cause physical damage, right? That's interesting because now we're not just taking people's money or, messing up your grandma because she can't get to her favorite websites. We're impacting things, it also highlighted how cybersecurity threats could jump from one digital realm to actual industrial sabotage. So that was also an interesting perspective of this one. The other part was the global impact, and specifically beyond the Iran attack. Although that it was carefully tuned for Iran's nuclear program, it actually spread beyond that, and it eventually was detected in systems worldwide. So fortunately, the payload was inert on systems without specific centrifuge, configurations. So it was able to code it to attack, right? But it's one of those things that really fundamentally changed our thinking about what was possible out there, and especially in terms of warfare. So as we start to think about it in that perspective, Ricoh, what would you say, like, from your experience, have you seen similar attacks like this? And like, what is your concern about attacks like this happening in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the chronologics behind the history behind Stuxnet was actually considered to be a utility because the United States were creating these nuclear dependency systems, right? And a data scientist, a data perspective said, hey, I'm going to create something that calls out so we can get these system checks. At that point, it was game on, right? And they started leveraging the hell out of that. What I worry about is, like, when you take a place like Phoenix, Arizona, or like, Nevada or something like that, you have all these dummy switches, these dummy electrical boxes, right? That only one manufacturer in the world makes. And it's not the United States. And we don't have any backup supplies of it. So what I worry about is you have a utility like Stuxnet that's still completely out there, still to this day, that will be modified or morphosized to actually attack the critical infrastructure of electronics and blow out these things, causing an inadvertent or indirect EMP, if you will. And at that point, I mean, who's going to go through in every household and repair, a switch, an GFIR switch, a circuit breaker? I mean, you're talking about, imagine hundreds of thousands of homes being blown like that, let alone buildings, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a tertiary effect of these things. We've already seen nation states like China, North Korea, Iran already probing to see what they can do and also do some sort of supply chain interaction and also supply chain attack.
Yeah, and that's a good point because, a year ago or 2 years ago, we reported on exactly that, an attack in critical infrastructure, specifically around components that are Chinese-made components that are core to certain critical infrastructure units that are also accessible online, and that an attack vector would be for China to target these units, disable them, essentially doing an EMP on that component, making it unusable, shutting down that infrastructure, and then now you're at the liberties of China to get the part to replace it because they're the only ones that manufacture that part.
Or at the mercies of China when they don't want to give you that part and want you to suffer.
Exactly. And talk about having your foot on the neck, of your opponent. I think that speaks to the scariest moment that I can think of. That I agree with you. I feel like, there's so much right now that is probably there that we're not doing enough about. And we're like one psychopath away from saying, I'm I'm feeling it today. I'm going to hit the button and we're going to like take all that down and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it could be a psychopath or it could be an over eagerly business person, right? One of the things we definitely see is in the space of, kind of fast forward is like the medical technology, right? A lot of our stuff comes from India. A lot of our pharmaceuticals from India and China and whatnot. And then all these pumps and these different MOT, IoT devices that are coming in play, we have no control over. And we're at the mercy of them. And they know for a fact there's a life expectancy span on there. And that's part of the oligopoly and also the supply chain, not attack, but like leverage.
Yeah. 100%. Again, power, control, money, right? Those things are influencing.
Jay-Z said it the best.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jay-Z. Yeah. So that scares the hell out of me when you think about the fact that, you see what happened with Stuxnet and it basically could create nuclear reactor meltdowns, essentially. If that were to happen here in the States, you got yourself another Chernobyl type incident. My concern is, if there are already parts being sold worldwide for these types of industrial control systems, God forbid, nuclear industrial control systems, how many backdoors are already in these systems today? I'm sure we probably have backdoors in systems as well, just in case there needs to be some retaliatory strike. But if you're in each other's back pocket already, it kind of becomes the whole nuclear arms thing all over, but it's digital. It's digital warfare. We know we can blow the hell out of Russia, China, North Korea if we had to. Just like we know we could launch a cyber strike on them if we needed to, but they could equally do that to us. And, you said it earlier, there's in some areas, you're probably outclassed or outgunned or out budgeted or out skill setted, however you want to state that.
Yeah.
That's quite concerning when you have to go to the private sector to get the skills and the talents you need to be on an equal playing field. And so if Stuxnet were to be recreated and redeployed as a time bomb somewhere against the U.S., I mean, does that not scare the hell out of you guys? It does me. I mean, my fear is that it's already out there.
It is. It already is. We've been in a cyber Cold War effort for the last 20 years. Now it's just been expedited, especially with artificial intelligence. I believe Stuxnet is still out there, and also there's a like one out there waiting and praying. The question is, if we have a backdoor into China, Russia, Iran, their nuclear facilities, and they have a backdoor into ours, the question is who's going to pull the trigger first, right? Who has the bravado and the ego?
Who's going to fire the first bomb, right?
Exactly. And that's where, corporate espionage comes into play, is how can we make it look like they did it before we do, right?
Yeah.
And there's tons of ways of doing it. Absolutely. You can make an idiot do anything. So I believe that in our lifetime, within the next 4 years, we are going to see a massive cyber attack, and it's going to cause massive amounts of impact.
Well, this kind of, I was going to jump to OT and IoT.
Well, before you go there, Kevin, I would just tell you, you're like, does that scare the hell out of you? Absolutely, dude. I got my bug out bag ready to go, man. I'm all kitted.
You're ready for the apocalypse.
I'm kitted.
Good. You can need that.
So
bread
I
beans,
think
and
what
bullet.
I'm hearing is we should all build a bunker at any time as soon as we can get the money, right?
Exactly.
Rico, if you've got a bunker, I'll bring the whiskey and the bourbon if you'll just let me in the door, man.
I got 20 acres, buddy. No problem. Come on down.
Kevin's going to show up there. Rico, let me in.
He'd be like, I don't know you, man. Get out of here. Well, that's wild. Yeah, I was going to go into OT and IoT and all that, but I kind of want to shift gears now. You've got me thinking in another direction. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the whole pandemic that we just experienced. Everybody had to go through this. The whole world had to go through it. Fingers pointed at China. Could it have been grown in this Wuhan laboratory? Who the hell knows? Honestly, maybe you have some inside scoop, but I'd love your opinion on that. And if that were a lab grown virus, what's the likelihood that we're not just days away from the next version of that? Because now it's out in the wild, right?
Yeah, I think that we'll probably see another pandemic, more likely, right? Remote work is alive and well, and it will continue to be alive and well. A lot of people are complaining about that. You said something very interesting. This is the first time we, as Americans, have seen this. While America was enjoying the fruits of our labor and whatnot, I was traveling the world, and I saw pandemics left and right. And I saw them everywhere, especially in the divide of the Africa, right? On the left side, you have the United States. On the east side, you have China. And you'll see it. If you look at the divide right down the middle, you'll see it. And they were launching their own biomedical weapons daily, pretty much daily.
Against each other, against each side?
Yep. And unfortunately, the people who were subject to were the African people, right? Anywhere from Botswana to northern South Africa, and then also Cameroon, Congo, because these are very interesting sickle-celled individuals who have certain genetics that are certain susceptible to certain things and not certain susceptible to other types of viruses. So while the United States, while we had to go through, it was point of rite of passage. We as the United States had to grow up and actually go through it, but the world has been going through this for the last hundreds of years. And we've just been so coddled that we're like, oh, it happened to us. I'm like, no shit, it happened to us. It's about time.
So wait a minute.
So basically you're saying we were sitting around sucking on our pacifier while the rest of the world was like growing up and getting their stuff done. And all of a sudden we're like, time for you to pay up. You guys need to get on with it.
Look at the malaria outbreaks, right? Like when I was in Africa, when I was in Sierra Leone, Congo, like I was taking these huge malaria pills. They'll just give me diarrhea, man, every damn day. But, I had to take them. But this was a pathogen that had morphed itself from something else. It wasn't just regular malaria. It was something else. And it was pretty wild. Then there was other stuff. You're like, man, there's just viruses everywhere, right?
So am I hearing you say that Africa is used by both America, China, and maybe other large countries as a biological laboratory, testing laboratory battleground?
Yeah, so not only is it biological battleground, but also there's a lot of private military going on over there as well. Like if you look at South Sudan, I don't know if you guys seen the uproar in that. When Panzer Fist left, right, there were the Russian paramilitary, more specifically in Chechnya. They left, their guy got killed. We came in, we're like, hey, private military, we're going to come over there and hang out. And basically we're just training tomorrow's terrorists. That's all we are doing.
Wow.
So I mean, you name the type of battlefield you want in, just go to Africa. Go to the Middle East. Like if you really want to if you really want to fight, right? Here's what I always tell people. I went to Ukraine not too long ago, and I was like, if you really gung-ho about stuff like that, there's a volunteer force full of Army veterans, special operators, veterans, Army, Navy, whatever, and they're teaching the Ukrainians how to fight for free on Ukraine. If you got the balls and you got the bravado, I'll book your plane ticket for you.
Yeah, that you hear about that, and you wonder, okay, so what is the mindset of these guys that have been fighting all their lives? They get out of war, they come home. I don't know, is it a boredom thing? Is it
No.
This is the life they know and they need to get back to it, or what?
So think about it, like look back at your life or your audience's life, and you say, I as a man, not I'm saying woman, man, but like I as a man, as Rico, you only have 5 big points of life where you're like, I was a hero, I was somebody's savior, I was there. The last part is I wrote history. Think about this. For 9 tours, 9 rotations of my life, I got to write the world history. Not a lot of men get to say that. Now you have this opportunity that gives them a purpose. Nothing is greater than fighting another man on the battlefield, because that man is willing to give his life and that man is willing to take your life. It's a beautiful thing, right? And a lot of people don't get to experience that. And it's very gut-wrenching and whatnot. But now Ukraine and Israel give you the opportunities to actually go out there, sack up and be like, I'm going to see what I'm made of.
That's a fascinating concept. Fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let's get into this last part as you were saying that, because it kind of formed my thought as we're going through this. Let's break away from some of the topics we had and kind of go off script a little bit. And my question for you is, like, what is the thing? So you can take this either way. Either what is the thing that just absolutely terrifies you, keeps you up at night, you're the most worried about right now occurring, or you can take it into a story that you just are jonesing to tell us that is just like next level.
Yeah. The things that keep me up at night is that ransomware business, ransomware itself, will never be fixed because nobody wants to fix it, nobody can fix it, nobody will fix it. And people, this is the next industrial military complex. It's too big. The big organizations have already set stake in Washington, D.C. and so on and so on. Like, this is the wheels are turning. The next warfare has been already set for the next 25 years, and we're fighting ourselves. And that's what, when I put my tin hat foil on, like, there are very rare times where I actually have an in-depth conversation. My brother, Joshua Danielson and Jesus Danielson, both smart men, right? And those are the guys I can sit around and talk like really in depth of what I think. Other than that, nobody really cares to hear. Nobody wants to hear. Nobody can, because they don't conceptualize it, right?
Yeah.
So the things I really worry about is that nobody wants to do the right thing.
Absolutely, man. I
now,
hear
as
that.
for stories, like I have tons of them. Two come to my mind. One was in 2010. Me and my homeboy Oz, big, I call him Little Oz, but he's like 6'8", and I'll never forget him, big dude. And we got tasked to go to Haiti in 2010, the second day of the earthquake. And we show up, and it was like the wildest thing. We actually wound up stealing a school bus because we had nowhere else. We were in a gunfight pretty much nightly. We actually wound up commandeering a couple anti-tank weapons, police scanners, and pretty much like we had nothing because the company who sent us out there hung us out to dry, and we're like, oh, he has $10,000. And so we just kind of made our own deal. Finally, we're able to get some process going, some progress going and whatnot. And the United Nations, UNDP, requested us to go rescue 2 women that had been kidnapped. And unfortunately, they were pretty bad shape. And I was triaging one of them in the Suburban, and one took her own life. And I was like, oh, like right in front of me. And then the other one, God. I helped out suture up and whatnot. And then that kind of set the operational tone for the other stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a manhunt that I was on in Africa. I'll never forget it. We're on the hunt for this guy who did something very specific 1,600 times. And I was like, this is a bad dude. Like, he was wanted by the world police, United Police, and everything between. We finally narrowed him down into the country of Cameroon. And we got him there, no problem. They got him on his knees. And I was with 2 other guys, and they're SAS from South Africa. And, they're 2 white dudes, and they're like, hey, mate, we should go. And I'm like, why? They're like, well, a truck is coming, and there's a bunch of people in there, and they want him. Once they get him, they're going to look at us and be like, why are you guys here? They're like, we have 15 minutes to get out of Dodge. And so we wound up stealing somebody's car, 3 big burly guys. Back then I was 250 pounds. And I was like, just stole some dude's car, handed off the guy, rolled out to the border, changed out our clothes, had our money on us. And they're like, what do we tell the guy? I'm like, well, tell him he's dead, because he's pretty much dead anyways. And then we made it across the border and found myself in Sierra Leone. And then I was like, I need to go home. So
Wow.
I was like, I'm done here, guys.
Wow.
That's crazy, man. And that's not even talking about the time when you were shot.
No. In Afghanistan, that was a interesting time. Never forget that. 2014. That was remember rolling out the gate. I was going to go talk to my informant. And I remember talking to this little girl. I was like, yeah, no problem. Cool. High five. And I heard a crack and a whiz. And then I was like, man, that really hurt. And I remember looking at the sky. I'm like, why am I looking at the sky? And I couldn't breathe. And I remember, never forget these words of a man that says, I'm going to use a maxi pad on you. And I was like, all right, here we go.
Wow.
So those work. I'm gonna tell you. Bandaged me
stop
up.
the bleeding.
It stopped the bleeding. Yeah. Bandaged me up. I was pretty in rough shape. And this is what you call the golden hour, right? I had about an hour of fighting with me. I lost a lot of blood. And I was like, hey, this is where you make your peace with God. They're going to run off and it's just me. And you're like, hey, it's okay. Like this is part of life. And they ran off to go see if they can get help. And I'm by myself, in the middle of a firefight, run through the back of the building, run over the dam. And then I remember looking at the gate and I just remember someone doing this. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I just passed out. And then I remember small little clips and phases, but I woke up in Bagram. And then after that, I went to Dubai. But yeah, it was pretty unreal life experience whenever you flatline. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, you've seen a lot, man. This is...
I don't think I've seen enough.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Well, this has been some fascinating talk. And I almost hate to cut it off, Jason. This is the kind of stuff I could definitely go all night. Easily.
Yeah.
This is some awesome conversation. But we do have one more segment to try to get to. Okay. I'm going to try to end on a lighthearted note for you guys. So we'll take one more quick break. We'll come back. We'll do a quick trivia contest and we'll call it a night.
You got to rock and roll.
All right.
Here we go.
Alacronet is a value-added reseller that provides cybersecurity-specific security solutions, services, and staffing. We are an agnostic security partner, which allows us to present multiple options for each security need. Our catalog of services encompasses a range of security solutions, penetration tests, and staffing options. With our approach, we can bring the best options and price points forward to increase your security posture and prevent vulnerabilities. Alacronet is constantly adding new partners to meet the challenges of an ever-changing security landscape. As security experts, we know how to find security talent. Our entire organization is focused on cybersecurity, from leadership to sales team to technical staff and hiring staff. For more information on our vast list of solutions or services, please give us a call or visit our website at www.alacronet.com. We look forward to growing with your business.
Welcome back from the second break. We've been having some amazing conversation tonight. This is the kind of conversation that you could go all night on. And Rico, thank you again for sharing a lot of the stuff you've been sharing, man. This is amazing information to hear. We strayed a little bit to a degree in some of our stories off cybersecurity, but I don't care because the stories themselves were amazing and fun to hear. But we've come to the point in this episode where Jason knows I like to go into a bit of a lighthearted ending segment. We're going to play a game, and I don't think we've ever done this game, Jason, in any of our episodes. This one is just basically Trivial Pursuit on steroids.
That's scary, Kevin.
Yeah, we most of my games are focused mainly on security or dumb stuff like that. But this one's not. This one's all over the map. So I'm going to tell you guys, this is how it's going to work. So I'm going to start. And we always start with our guest. So I'll go to Rico, and Rico will get to pick a category in which he wants his question coming from.
Okay.
And if you get the answer to the question right, you get a point. The goal here is to first 1 to 6 points wins the game. And I'm going to tell you guys what the categories are. And then Rico, I'm going to come to you and you can pick whichever of those 6 categories you want. I've got 5 questions in each category.
Rock and roll.
All right, here we go. First category is history and geography. Category 2 is pop culture. Category 3 is literature. Category 4 is sports. 5 is science and nature, and category 6 is food and drink.
Damn, Kevin.
Food and drink.
Food and drink. You want food and drink?
Food and drink.
All right, here we go. First question on the food and drink category. Rico, which country is known for originating the dish paella?
Paella?
Yes.
Maybe I'm saying it paella.
He said it wrong.
I would imagine Spain.
Spade is correct. Damn, the world traveler is going to get all of these.
No, I know. Like when you were like palala, I was like paella.
Sorry, man. I'm
That's
not.
okay. It's okay.
Obviously, I'm not a world traveler.
It's all right.
Yeah, you're not.
Good job, though. You got that one. So 1 for Rico. Jason, coming at you.
All right.
History and geography, pop culture, literature, sports, science and nature, food and drink.
Sports.
Oh, I should have known it. You'd be sports, of course. Okay. You're not going to like that this first question is about soccer, though.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, seriously, pick something better.
No, you get the first question, man.
Okay,
I didn't make
ask
the
me.
questions.
Ask me.
In soccer, in parentheses, football,
Yeah.
which country has won the most FIFA World Cup titles? This actually seems obvious now that I'm looking at it.
Argentina.
No. and wait a minute. Is that a country?
That is a
It's
country.
It's a country.
Dude.
Okay. So Rico, here's how this works.
Mhm.
You can steal that question now that you've heard it, or you can switch and go to a different category.
I know the answer.
I'll go with Manchester.
So you're going to try to go with the same question?
Sure.
It is not Manchester.
Okay.
Jason,
Huh.
you can go back to that question, or you can pick from another category.
I'll pick another category.
Of course you will.
Science and tech.
Oh,
Hold on. Let me mark that one down. Okay, science and tech. Here we go. Science and nature.
Oh, nature. Oh, great. You couldn't do tech in there. Let's do science and nature then.
Which gas is most abundant in Earth's atmosphere?
It is carbon dioxide.
No, incorrect.
Nitrogen.
You don't get 15 guesses. Rico, would you like to steal that one?
no, would it be methane?
It is not methane.
Oh,
Jason, do you want to go back to that or pick another category?
I'll do one more. Oxygen.
No.
No.
I knew I was wrong, but I'm throwing it out there anyway.
Rico, do you want that one?
Would it be? You said natural gas, right?
Oh, it's a natural gas.
No, it's not natural gas. It's
Dang,
which
man.
gas is most abundant in Earth's atmosphere?
That methane
I'll
was
say
a good
flagellants.
Flatulence. The cows, right?
Cows, man, the
choice.
cows.
You're sticking with the methane theme.
No, it's not methane. It is not
All right,
methane.
then I guess we're asked out on that one.
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is.
Jason, you're gonna okay. I'm gonna skip this one, but you're gonna kick yourself in the ass because you said it illegally the second time when you said nitrogen.
What, dude?
You guessed
See?
twice. That's not legal.
See, no, you could have counted that, man. See how you want to be?
No, I'm not.
All right, give me
counting.
another
That's
one.
cheating. That's
Give
cheating.
me another one.
All right, you do have the floor though. So, history and geography, pop culture, literature, sports, science and nature, food and drink.
Let's do science and nature again.
Alrighty. What is the name of the closest star to Earth other than the sun?
Mars.
Star?
It's a star. It's a planet star. You was a star at one point.
Oh, you're not going to guess this. I've never even heard of this.
Andromeda.
No.
Okay.
So Rico, please move on. You don't want this.
I will take pop and culture. Let's try that. Let's try something different.
Okay, pop culture. Which singer is often referred to as the Queen of Pop?
Maybe Little Kim.
That is incorrect.
The Queen of Pop.
I don't know. That's a good one too. I could go a number of different ways. I'm going to say Mary J. Blige.
That is also incorrect.
Taylor Swift.
That is incorrect.
Beyonce.
Jason, do you want to guess?
Yeah, Beyonce.
That is incorrect.
Oh, damn. The Queen of Pop. The Queen.
No, dude. Queen of
the
Pop.
Queen Latifah?
These are all good guesses, but
Yeah,
no.
they are, but it's not. It's
The Queen of Pop.
It's Aretha Franklin.
Pop. Move on.
Closer, but no.
Would it be-
Genre-wise, age-wise, closer.
Yeah, I know.
Not Billie Holiday.
No, it's shoot, I don't know, man. I know, but I don't know.
Madonna.
Yeah. Oh, what?
What?
Madonna.
Dude, you
Hey.
wasn't nowhere close. You was throwing me off. Madonna,
Garbage.
Queen of Pop.
All right.
These aren't real questions. You made this stuff up.
Who
This
has-
is Kevin
who-
questions.
Who has the floor?
I do.
All right. History and geography, pop culture,
Pop
literature.
culture.
Okay, pop culture. In the TV series Friends, what is the name of Ross Geller's pet monkey?
Oh, shit.
What? I don't even remember dude having a monkey, man. He had a monkey? Mikey.
No. Okay. And I'm seeing from Rico's shaking of the head, he doesn't want to guess at this, that the monkey's name was Marcel.
Oh.
Dude, you've got to make these things a little simpler, man.
Hey, I didn't write this stuff. This came straight from our wonderful internet, which is a
We've got 1
thesaurus
point
in
so
the sky.
far. We've
All
got
right.
1 point so far.
Encyclopedia in the sky. Yeah, we may have to drop it down to 3 wins the game. The way we're going.
Go with 2 wins a game.
Okay, new category. History and geography, pop culture, literature, sports, science and nature, food and drink. You're
Who's up?
muted.
No, I was saying that's you, Rico.
Oh,
It's your pick.
history and geography. Let's try that.
History and geography. The question is, which ancient civilization built the Machu Picchu complex in Peru?
Mayans?
Ooh, close, but no.
Aztecs.
Well, first of all, you don't get a second guess either because you know better than Jason when it comes to trying to cheat. You guys both need to back off the cheating.
Sorry, Jason.
I'm gonna say it's in that area. I'm gonna say the Incas.
Ooh.
You got it, buddy. It's the Incas.
Oh. Jason with
Good
the
guess.
one.
And
a
I know
tie
it's a
score.
guess. All right. So we got a 1-1 game, gentlemen. 5 to go. All right. So Jason, you have the floor.
All right.
Do you need me to
Science and
repeat?
technology.
Okay. Science and
Sci-
technology. This is question 3, meaning there's only 3 left in this category. Who developed the theory of general relativity? Oh, I know this. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, but it's obvious, but then if I say it, I'm gonna say Einstein.
And you would be correct.
Okay.
Oh.
You
I'm
were
like, if
thinking
it's that
Newton.
obvious.
You were thinking it might be Newton, weren't you?
No. I
That's the
knew
theory
it
of
was
gravity.
Einstein, but I'm like, I'm gonna say Einstein, and you're gonna be like, nope, that's not it.
Okay. It's 2-1 at this point. You still have the floor, sir.
What's the last category?
The last category is food and drink.
You know. What's the
Science and
third
nature,
category?
sports, literature, pop culture.
Let's go back to sports.
Sports. Question number 2 in sports is, which basketball legend is often referred to his airness?
Is that you, Jason?
That's LeBron, man.
That is incorrect.
I'll take this one. His airness? Michael
Yes,
Jordan?
sir. Michael Jordan is correct. Good job.
There's a big debate right now between those two.
Good job, Rico. You have tied it up at 2-2, and it's your floor,
2-2.
sir.
Let's go sports again.
Sports. What is the maximum break in a single frame of snooker?
15 seconds?
That is incorrect.
Yes.
What the hell is snooker? Okay, go ahead, Jason. You don't have to take this question, by the way. You can move on.
I don't even know what it is. What's a break, dude? I'm going to say...
No idea.
What's snooker?
Exactly.
Yeah,
What is snooker?
146. What is that?
Are you over there Googling stuff?
Who?
Is that right?
I'm asking seriously. Are you over there Googling?
No. I'm just guessing numbers.
You're shitting me, right? You're shitting me right now. You've got to be shitting me because the answer is actually 147.
What?
But how in the hell would you guess 147?
Oh, I just threw a number out there. I mean,
That's-
I absolutely had no idea what we were talking about. So
that is just a weird guess, dude, to be that close. But okay, back to Rico. Rico,
Okay.
new category.
Let's go sports again.
Sports. Where is my sport? Okay, here we go. Which tennis tournament played on grass courts is considered the most prestigious Grand Slam event?
Cricket?
Incorrect.
I'm going to say I don't know it. I know it, but I don't know it. And I'm going to say Wimbledon, but it's not Wimbledon. It's
it's Wimbledon, the tennis thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it, Kevin?
Are you guessing Wimbledon?
It's
You said
Wimbledon,
you-
yeah. Yeah.
It is Wimbledon.
All right.
Good job. Okay, so that means it's now 3-2. Jason, your floor.
Okay.
History and geography, pop culture, literature.
Pop culture.
Pop culture. Okay, back to pop culture. Oh, this is easy. Which actor played Tony Stark, Iron Man, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Robert Downey Jr.
You are correct. Robert Downey. So you are taking a commanding lead now at 4-2.
My floor again.
Still your floor.
Okay.
Good.
Let's do geography.
What is the longest river in the world?
The Nile.
The Nile River, though there's debate with the Amazon, but you are correct.
Come on.
You know, the Amazon.
You know,
know,
the
right?
Amazon. Of course, the Amazon. Okay.
5-2.
5-2. Game point.
Okay.
Game point.
We're going to go with pop culture again.
Why are you scared of literature? You should go literature.
Because I don't want to go with literature, man.
All right, pop culture. Which pop singer's real name is Stefani Joanne Angelina
Boom.
Germanata?
Stop. Hold on. Stop. I'm going to tell you. You ready
Okay.
to know?
Please
you want
tell
me
me.
to educate you?
Please educate me.
A Lady Gaga.
That is correct.
Oh,
Lady Gaga. That's her real name? Wow. Weird.
Yes. I only know that because I heard it the other day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, Rico, I can tell you this. Jason never wins on the trivia on the games. So he must have been cheating.
sure.
I would
come
not take
on.
this personally at all, because that one
Oh, no.
guess, when he said 146 and the answer was 147.
Because of
tells
that
me
one. Because
you
I
got your
guessed
little
and I was
Chat
close.
GPT app over there, Jason. What's going on here, Mr.
man.
AI? You're cheating
No,
over there or
I
something.
don't do that, Kevin. I only do that to you.
All right. Well, so what I didn't tell you guys though is that the rules state, if I clearly define the rules, is that because Jason won, he has to buy us around the next time we're
Hey.
all out at the next event together. So
We'll
as
take
the
it.
winner, Jason,
Thank you,
your
Jason.
reward
Appreciate
to
it.
us is to buy us all around.
I
All
only
right,
drink
I
top
gotcha.
shelf stuff, guys. So
Yeah.
Jason, move for it.
I got you.
All right.
All right. Well, guys, look, has been a lot of fun. We covered a lot of ground tonight. The conversation was fascinating. Rico,
Really
thank
was.
you for joining us, for
Absolutely.
sharing your insights, your stories. They're just, dude, you have lived a life and you still have a lot to live. So,
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're one of us. You're one of the good guys. You're out there making a difference. Just thank you for everything you do, and thank you for being on our show.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys. It's an honor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Rico, thank you. And to the listeners out there, go check out Rico's website. Is it RicoDanielson.com?
Yeah, it can be ricod.us or .com, or you can just go to firstresponder.us. Yeah. Or go to just
go
my
check out-
Instagram too. Yeah.
Go check out his website, look him up, read some of his fascinating stories, check out some of his books. And of course, when we drop this episode, please help us get the word out. Share this with all your friends. Subscribe. Help us get the word out to more people. We are truly in a battle, and we're trying to help arm the right guys. Rico's one of those guys. So help us get the word out to more people and start educating the young people that are interested in cybersecurity and that can help us one day protect this great country that we live in. So thank you all. And until next time, we will see ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you for watching our latest episode of the Cyber Distortion Podcast. We only grow with your support. The best thing you can do to help us grow is to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, follow us on X, and tell just one friend about the show. You can find out more about us on the blog site at www.cyberdistortion.com. Our X handle is @DistortionCyber, and you can also listen to our audio-only versions of the episodes on most major streaming podcast platforms. Just search for Cyber Distortion Podcast. Until next time, take care. Cheers.